Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our Earrings by Angela podcast series. Today's episode, we're going to talk about balance, and this is in reference to the blog post that was published entitled 7 Reasons to Vibe Higher. I wanted to dig a little deeper into the balance area because a lot of times, we have chaotic schedules. We're doing more in one area than we are in the other, and we start to experience stress. So here are the 4 areas that I wanted to focus on and give you just a little bit of insight as to how you can start to balance and create a natural flow of energy in these areas and feel less stressed in your life. And these are some things that have worked for me. Actually, if you are familiar with our High Vibin' 7 program, this is actually one of the chakras that we focus on, and that is the root chakra. And so the root chakra actually helps you to find balance in your life. It helps you to feel and act more grounded. You're building a foundation from which to work off of so that you are able to vibe on a higher level. And when I say vibing on a higher level, that means your positive energies are overcoming your negative energies, those self-limiting beliefs that you may have. So in the arena of, I'll give you an example. When I was working for a school system, I was giving everything to that job because I love children. I love the atmosphere. But what would happen is I'm spending all my time, doing work-related things, and I had a younger son. So by the time I got home, I'm tired. I'm like, I still had to cook the meals. I still had to, be a mom to my son. And it started to affect the family because at that time I was working 2 jobs. They were both at the school. So our routine would change to the point where we didn't really have enough time for each other until it was the weekends and when I say time, I'm talking about outside of homework and doing nightly schedules like bath times and, all that. We didn't have time to just kick it. Okay. So I said something has to change. I cannot sit here and service other families and neglect my own. I had to rebuild my foundation. Now, that was only in 2 areas. The 4 areas I'm going to talk about today are family, career, health, and love. And when I say love, that includes self-care and romantic love, right? So just think, the 2 areas that I had to focus on was my career and family. So it wasn't until I started to really reevaluate what was going on and realize something had to change. I needed to find balance. What ended up happening was that I decided, I'm just going to work 1 job so that I can spend more time with my son. Yeah, that takes courage because I was a single mom and, I was like, that's going to limit the finances, but that allowed me to be creative in other areas because my focus was I need to find a healthy balance between my family and my career so that my son was not feeling like mom doesn't have time for me, right? So what happened was with me focusing on the family portion and kind of evening that portion out, our schedule changed. So we would have time to cook together. It wasn't, we're running to McDonald's for something quick so we can come home and get homework done and start this and that. No, it wasn't like that. We were cooking together, planning our meals on the weekend. I involved him in that. We would take, we would have date night on Thursdays where we would go to Culver's and we would, have dinner there, have ice cream and stuff, talk about our days, but just in a different setting. And that was our time to just do that. And then we would go to a park and have fun. But it wasn't until I noticed that there needed to be a change, a balance between work and family, that everything else started to flow, right? So how did it flow into the area of love and health? Well, for the health portion, first of all, I was less stressed, right? Because I felt like, okay, the guilt that I was feeling at that time of not being a present mom for him, that left. So when we went to the parks, we would be walking. That's going with our health, but we're still doing it as a family. I signed up for the Y, so we would have classes and work out together, play in the pool and stuff like that, which brought his vibes higher because now he has a mom that has included him in more of the fun aspects, right? So that's how that's an example of how I found balance in being a mom and, trying to handle my career. And you're probably thinking, well, what did you do about the finances of, quitting that second portion of the job? And actually, so when we started cooking more at home, the cost of groceries went down because, I should say the food, portion went down because we were not eating fast foods. And so when we were cooking more healthier meals together. Like, seriously, there's 1 year that I was like, we didn't even fry anything, and his health improved. And when you start to actually change the foods that's in your diet from less processed stuff, and you have that time where you're actually making those healthy meals, you eat less, which causes your grocery bills to go down. And guess what? Then you don't catch the itis. And for those of you who know what the itis is, that is actually the foods that put you to sleep. That's what we call the itis, right? So that helped a lot. In the area of love, romantic love, I had more time to, date, because my son, would go with his grandparents for the weekend. Their request not, they were like, oh, we want, and as a grandma now, I understand it because I'm like, no, I need my time with my grandchild. So that was great. So I dated on the weekends, not taking away from my son. But most importantly, I had that time to do a lot of self-care as well. And so at night after my son would go to bed, I would light the candles, sometimes I would take a soothing bath, or I would just put on some jazz. And when I say jazz, I'm talking about Louis Armstrong, Miles Davis, a little Billie Holiday. And that was my time to just relax and get ready for the next day. And that helped a lot. So all of those things combined was actually helping me to become more present, less stressed, more productive in the things that I wanted. And everything seemed to flow in with one another just from me recognizing, hey, something needs to change so that we can even things out. So my focus was family. That's what I wanted to change. And then, like I said, everything else flowed. So what area out of the health, the family, career, and the love, which one is causing everything else to be imbalanced? I would love for you to share that in the comments and give me an example of something that you do for yourself, for self-love or for your health or anything. What do you do for yourself, and how would finding balance improve your life? So share that with me in the comments, and I would love to interact with you. That is the end of this episode. The next one is going to be about personal power, which also goes with the 7 reasons to vibe higher. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you for tuning in today.